To go to a school where everyone is treated as equals.
To not walk down a hallway and feel alone, targeted, or isolated.
To be called names like whore, slut, and ugly.
To belong.
I am Brittany Emke. I am Rachel Emke's sister. My 13-year-old sister, Rachel, about 24 days ago, she hung herself due to bullying. It started about a year ago. There was slut written on her locker was one of the things, and that took 6 weeks to have removed. It took emails from my dad, and it also took 3 phone calls, and my dad would say, you know, you need to take it off, whatever. Well, it never got done, and so the 3rd call, my dad called him again and said, either you have it removed or I'm gonna come in there with spray paint and I'll take care of it myself. And then finally, after 6 weeks, it was taken off. The principal there never even told my parents. My sister had to tell my parents what happened. And then another incident was one of her ex-best friends stuck chewed up gum in her locker and in all of her school books. My sister's best friend Faith was telling us that they ate in the locker room alone because the girls were so mean to Rachel. I told her just to knock them out. She told me, I can't, Brittany. I'm not a mean person. That Friday, my dad told her that it's done. They're not dealing with this anymore. Rachel said, please don't. She's like, it's only going to get worse for me. They're only going to be meaner to me. And my dad said, no, I'm sorry, but we can't do this anymore. And I told her that Friday that I was going to take her to the cop shop and have everything sorted out to see what we can do to get them to stop. And I said, I'm a very proud big sister and that I love you very much. And she said, I know, Brittany, and I love you very much too. And I said I was going to help her. And she never replied. And then that's the last time I ever talked to her. I was actually supposed to go out that night, and earlier I was mad at my dad, and so I wasn't answering his phone calls. And I finally answered, and I was like, what do you want? And my dad was bawling on the phone, and he said, Rachel's dead. And I said, what? And he said, Rachel's dead. And my little brother was actually supposed to go and get her. And he happened to call my dad and said, could you go get her? My dad waited on the car for 5 minutes and was texting her saying, quit doing your hair, quit doing your makeup. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna go get her. And he walked up to the door, and inside the picture, or the window of the door, he saw her hanging from the living room. And he tried getting the door, but she went around the house and locked every single door that there was. And then he grabbed a bat and had a smash in the front door. And he went and got her, he picked her up, and he didn't have any scissors. And he said he lifted her when he standing on his tippy toes, and her little head fell on his shoulder. And then he had to untie the knots around her neck. He said he called 911, and he didn't even know where he was. He couldn't remember where he was. And he was trying to do CPR and call, and the cops got there, and they tried taking over, and he wouldn't let them. Then they weren't sure what the damage was or anything like that, and so they had to do a bunch of tests, and we all waited around, and they came out, and they were like, well, we're not sure exactly what's going to happen. And sweet, my sister's going to live. And I said, she might be handicapped, but that's okay with me. At least I have my sister. And then they came back out at about probably an hour later, and they said, well, we're sorry, but there's a 0% chance that she's gonna make it. And they said her brain was so swollen that they couldn't even tell that it was a brain, and her little heart and her lungs were damaged. And then they told us that we can go into the room and see her for the last time. And so we went in there, and they kept her on life support. We were sitting there, and they said the medications that they were pumping her with aren't going to work anymore, and the oxygen quit working for her. And then they just said, it's not going to work anymore. So then we decided to pull it. And so then we sat and watched her little heartbeat slowly go away. And then after, she officially died at 3:49 in the morning, and her mom never got there until 8:30, the morning of. And by the time she got there, she was swollen and white, and then all you saw was the ring around her neck. And then we got to spend a couple more hours with her, and then they finally said we're sorry, but she has to go